Now that you've seen it with an audience, have you had any sort of new feelings thinking about them that now that it's been a decade since they were in your life?
Actually, before I answer the question, I just want to thank my grandparents for their openness to share their story, and also for their trusting me to tell it, and also for raising me as a kid and teaching me at a very young age to be loving, kind, and generous. And they are actually here with us. I have both their hair in this lucky little bag or pouch. Sorry, what's the question?
You've already answered in a way in that it's they didn't get to see the final film, but you can tell that they're aware that this is the last moment in their lives to share these stories with you. And now that you are another 10 years older, does this film hit you in a different way? I just think to people who discover family photos they haven't seen in a while. Can you talk about the 10 years since that you've moved towards completing this film?
I have to say that I thought I really knew them well because I was so close to them emotionally. I was actually closer to them than to my parents because they raised me. And my mom was like extremely controlling, extremely strict with me. But it wasn't until I started editing the film, because I shot around 200 hours footage, I started to get to know them more and more. And also there were some of the stories they share with me I've never heard actually growing up. So they never voluntarily shared with the family, what happened in the past. But during the interview, they were very open, I guess, because they trusted me. So when I was watching the footage and editing, I felt I was extremely lucky that I decided to make this film, and I was able to spend time with them for an extended period of time, and also all those precious moments we shared together. And 11 years pass. When I watch it again, I feel like sometimes I feel they're still around. When I was watching it, because I could hear them and see them, I felt like if now I go back to Wuhan, maybe they're still living in that apartment. Yeah, it feels a little bit surreal.
I'm going to ask one more question, then I want to turn to the audience. The contrast in your film between these memories and that are always sort of softened. Memories kind of have this way of taking off the edges. You contrast that against the very hard reality of aging, and you don't shy away from it. It's touching, but it's also challenging to watch people sort of lose a little bit of themselves. Was that something you were conscious of, or how did you want to strike that balance between looking back but also being very present?
Aging and death, I think, is kind of like a taboo topic, especially in the Chinese culture. But I personally feel that it's a part of life. It's part of the whole process. So I just never thought about the challenge of, for the audience to see it. So yeah, I don't know if I answered that question or not. Do you wanna?
I don't know. I just think it's such a beautiful story. It's so rare that we have something with this mix of sorrow and joy and tears and laughter. I really forgot until seeing it at the festival here how funny the film is in moments. But you've accomplished a wonderful thing. Jane has to be one of the finest humans I know and have ever known. She's a truly extraordinary person, and I feel like you've created something immortal here. And I think your parents and your grandparents in their apartment in Wuhan, they will be with us forever because of what you've accomplished. So it's just such an honor to have worked with you and supported the process.
Thank you, Mark.
I see a hand raised in the middle. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your unbelievably beautiful film. And now it's completely moving to see how much you look like your grandmother. I wanted to ask too, obviously your grandparents were very brave in giving you access, and I wonder how your brothers and your sisters, if they were willing or if there was tension with your brothers and sisters about filming your all of your parents, your grandparents.
Sorry, whose brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'll repeat for the people who didn't hear. Is can you talk about whether there was any concern from your other family members about recording your grandparents and sharing this film, knowing it would be sort of made public? I think was that something you had to discuss with your family members?
I told my family that I wanted to make a film about my grandparents. Nobody seemed to have any problem with it, and everyone signed the release form right away.
So they all knew what they were getting into. Yeah, it is challenging sometimes because it can just feel like, oh, we're why would anyone want to hear our story? But clearly it resonates.
I think for my grandparents it was easy because they knew that, because I went back home to film my first feature doc, and so while I was in China, I decided to make a film about my grandparents as well. So my grandparents were totally supportive, and yeah, somehow my other family members, they didn't seem to have any concerns about that. So even when I was filming in the hospital, my aunt was saying that some doctors told her they were a little bit nervous because there was a camera there, but yeah, nobody seemed to have like big concerns or anything.
I guess once you have approval from the dictator, everyone else just gets in line, right? So.
Yeah, I've got a question here.
I just want to know if it was 10, 11 years ago. Were you working on the film for 10, 11 years?
Yeah, so have you been working on the film for the past decade to get it to completion?
Not exactly, because after I finished shooting and came back, I was working on my first film, and I finished that. And then I wanted to work on this film right away, but I was having some health issues. So my producer told me that I should take a few years off. So, and then it was end of 2019. I decided to start looking through all the footage and started fundraising, and Mark helped with everything. And yeah, here we are.
Yes, go ahead in the middle. Yeah.
So the film focuses more on the mundane shots of their last few years as opposed to the dramatic plot of the fall and their eventual death. So is that more of a footage selection thing, or was that more because you want to remember them as more peaceful, their happier moments, or is it just because I don't know, I have one more thing but I forgot. I just want to know the reason behind that. Or would you like to give them more privacy for their death? Is that a thing?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So the question is about why the choice to sort of show the day-to-day moments of the recovery and things, and not necessarily the fall or what might seem like more dramatic moments. Was that because the footage didn't exist, or you wanted to sort of it was a conscious choice?
Originally, I decided to make this film because I felt that we don't see enough of older generation, older people in media, and I felt like I just wanted to share their story, and I was thinking that it would be cool to show the audience, both in China and also especially in the West, how a Chinese couple live their, old Chinese couple live their daily lives. So that's why I shot a lot of their, daily routines and interactions. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no idea my grandma would have a fall. And I remember receiving the email. My mom was saying she had a fall, and now she's being in hospital. And for 3-4 days, she was not eating, not drinking, not peeing or pooing. She said if things don't improve, she's going to die. So I went back home right away and, shot the scene with my grandpa at home, and I went to the hospital. And I didn't shoot anything about the death because by the time I shot the last scene of grandpa washing grandma, somehow I knew it was going to be the last scene of the film. So I told myself, oh, no need to shoot anymore.
There's another question over there, please.
So the place that your grandparents were is still there, and now that you're like, it's similar to my situation where since my grandparents are not alive anymore, it's like my connection with like the city is different now. Is it similar with you with your mom?
Yeah, great question. So, is your grandparents' home still there? And now that they've passed, do you feel you have a different connection to Wuhan?
Actually, before they passed, they moved to a different apartment. And I visited them in the new apartment, not too far from their old place. I mean, it does feel different when I go home because after grandma passed, I told my parents that we cannot let my grandpa live by himself. So my parents moved in with them. And then after my grandpa passed, right now my parents are still living in their apartment, but it's not this one. And this one is like my home because my first 5 years was spent there. So it does feel very different. And I actually just went to China earlier this year, and I did it's not far at all. It's like a few buildings. I did walk around their building, take a look of the apartment. It all looks different from the window. I did do that a couple of times just to remember the old days. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Over here.